What's up, family? This is Jay Floyd, aka Big Bro. Welcome to another episode of my podcast, man, the Big Bro Show. Thank you to y'all who probably tuning into this after seeing my episode on the song WAP, man. Let's keep talking, man. Leave y'all comments. Let's keep chopping it up about all these topics, because as a community, we got to grow. If we don't talk, we don't grow. Things don't grow that are not exposed to the light, that are not exposed to the air. So let's get it out there, man. Big shout out to my sponsors, man. GreenwoodDist. GreenwoodDist is a black-owned apparel company, man. They sell really dope graphic tees, man. Y'all peeping my joint right now? Look at that. Look at that bad boy with the power fists on it, man. The red, black, and green with the rose from the concrete. Yo, GreenwoodDist, man. Not only do they make dope apparel, they are named after the Greenwood District in Tulsa, Oklahoma, which was burned down in the Tulsa massacre. We don't say riots because it was a massacre. You know what I mean? It's also known as Black Wall Street. That was the Greenwood District. So this company is GreenwoodDist. They really sell some really empowering, really strong, really statement making shirts, man. I like to make a statement. I like to, it's what I call say it with your chest. You know what I'm saying? Say it with your chest, man. If you're gonna rock something, have a little statement with it, But be ready to back that statement up too. When somebody roll up on you like, yo, I like that, or I don't like that, what's that saying? Be ready to back that up. Be ready to speak your truth, So yeah, big shout outs to everybody who listened to my last podcast episode and came here from there where I was talking about Cardi B and Meg Thee Stallion's joint WAP. This one today, we're going to hit the political area, man. Right now, this is August 2020. The year 2020 has been a little rough. It's delivered a lot, a global pandemic, what I call a racial uprising, man. A racial / cultural / class uprising, right? The class warfare, it tends to bring that. And right now, people who've been on the back end of it, it's like, we ain't having it no more. And that's what we need to be saying, So with this being also an election year, and the incumbent president, Donald Trump, he's trying to get back up in there. But we know we got my man Joe Biden on the other side. He just picked his vice presidential selection, which is historic. The first black woman ever chosen for a major party vice presidential nomination. Kamala Harris is doing her thing. A lot of people, liked it, didn't like it. Struggling with this one, which is, I think one of the biggest things to me, man, is do we take note of this, man? Do we see a common theme? We gotta recognize that common theme, man. Confusion, and that contention. It's that this versus this. Pow! It's like, and then, with the pandemic being mishandled and us, still, being stuck in the house, and, our emotions and our psyches are affected by that, man. And eventually it's just like, even what we watching, it's like verses. It's like this versus that. Do you like, I was scrolling through social media earlier and it was like, what was the best this? What's the best that? Who's better than this? It's like, I get it. I know that's how we entertain ourselves, but we do need to start with these very important things. We need to start really paying attention to the cycle, this theme of contention, man. Don't let it get us embroiled in confusion. Okay, Joe Biden is the Democratic nominee. You know what I'm saying? I was not a Joe Biden dude. I'm an Andrew Yang dude. You know what I'm saying? We could talk about that on another episode. But he's the nominee who's going to be going against Trump. And he's chosen Kamala Harris, who is a black woman, who is the first black woman. You can have your feelings and dig into the details about that, but let's dig into the details and talk to each other and educate each other. Even if you don't like that person, try explaining exactly what's going on and why. First, convince yourself, dig in and find for yourself, all right, what I was feeling is valid. And when somebody asks me about it, I'm going to explain it. That way they can get understanding, I get understanding. We can all start to grow as a community regardless, But needless to say, man, we're going to talk about this stuff. This is one of my first political episodes, and I am not a political expert. You know what I'm saying? I'm Big Bro, man. I'm going to talk about it all. But I wanted to bring somebody on the show who really gets down with this political thing, man, who really knows the ins and outs, studies his stuff. So I brought my bro, Robert Speed Hill, man. This dude is my brother for real, for real. You know, they ain't my play cousin. This my brother, man. Like we've been bonded for like 30 years, man. We in like that. You know what I'm saying? I know this dude. I know exactly the things, the way his brain works and how he analyzes this stuff. And I think it's important for us as a community to start looking deeper into the facts of it all. So I brought him on here to talk about the facts of it all, not to just run our mouth about opinion. All right? So with no further ado, man, let's get into that interview, y'all. Stick with me. Oh, and matter of fact, like and subscribe this bad boy. There's probably gonna be a right there. It's probably a little thing to say J Floyd Speaks Life. It's a little square. If you hover over that bad boy, say subscribe. Pow! Do that. Yeah. All right, what's up, everybody, man? This is J Floyd, aka Big Bro. Hey, y'all got my mans with me, man. You know, like I said, we got to touch on these topics. I'm not no political expert, though. You know what I'm saying? I love politics. I grew up in it. But, you know, you got to have the right mind frame to do your work, to do your due diligence. And my man does his work. So I brought my man in, my man Robert Speed Hill, my partner in Rhyme Royal, man. We've been rhyming together forever. Been knowing this dude like 30 some odd years. This is my fam. What's going on, bro?
What up, brother? What's happening?
Ain't nothing, man. You know what's happening. You know what's going on, man.
Silly season. We in the middle of.
You know what it's looking like. So this, you know, the timing of this, the reason why I wanted to get you this week. You know, we standing at the second week of August, right? So we are officially like the 90-day rundown to the election has begun, right? 90 days and it's on. This is like, it's like in the movies where it's like the biggest fight of all time. This is the one, the brawl to settle it all. This is it right here, man. The one we've been talking about, you know, this is our lives is on the line. What do you think about that whole stance? Is it really that important, man?
This election or elections in general? This
one.
This one is mad important because I think it's important on kind of two sides of the coin. Like it's important for the obvious reasons because it's going to choose who the next president is, but I think it's important also because it's going to tell us a lot about ourselves too. So like, you know, if you know, people don't vote or people vote for Trump or people decide to vote for Kanye or, you know, we learn things about ourselves from elections to begin with. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's mad important. And then you got, I think this is the first time probably ever that so many people realize how much more than electing a president the election in general is. You know what I'm saying?
So you know what everybody's talking about right now, man, is we got Joe Biden rolling in. You know, we trying to get Trump out of there. My man Joe Biden grabs Kamala Harris, right? Kamala Harris, 56 years old, attorney general, then senator. She was also a DA, California, you know, born and bred in Oakland. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, she's California love for real. But, you know, that comes with, you know, some different you know, California law is deep. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's got a lot of history going on. We talking about Rodney King. We talking about the LAPD. We talking about the murder of Biggie. We talking about all of that in California.
Right.
And it's like, especially talking about drug offenses. We talking about the death penalty. You know, she was a noted district attorney, attorney general, putting it down out there. You know, there's some things she did to rep for what black people really would like. There's some things she did to rep for some stuff you can knock her on.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So what should, like in 2020, with the past being what it is, in 2020 as VP though, what out of all of that shit, black people, what do you think black people should even be worried about? What should we consider?
think the biggest thing to consider when it comes to her is looking at what she did as a senator, and on her own run as president.
Yeah.
Because, like, I know there's a lot of people got a problem with her because of the district attorney thing and the attorney general thing. When she was one of the contenders for president, one of the problems I had was I didn't think she was loose enough. Like, and we break that down a little bit, because I think when we rolled into this era of Donald Trump and politicians like Donald Trump and, whatever you want to call these people, I think it proved that people were tired of used car salesmen politicians. And for me, when I watched her speak, now you put her in her lane, you put her in that lawyer lane, you put her in that committee lane, you put her in that senator lane, she looked mad tight. She was on her stuff. But when she began to speak as a presidential nominee, I felt like she was struggling to say all the right things. She was being too careful. And when you be too careful, people don't think you're real.
And ain't the time for that no more.
Right, exactly. And that's why that was the thing I like. Every time I saw her on stage or give interviews with people, and I think it was one interview they asked her, how does she view herself with her, her varied background and her, mixed, and then she said something to the effect, like the answer was like, I consider myself an American first or some garbage like that. And I was like, oh man, it was like the emoji, the hand slapping emoji, like, you can't do that, man. This is not the era for that. This is not the era.
Days is over, man.
Right. So, but as far as her being, a vice presidential pick, or people like black people should be taken away from that, I think it's a size up kind of thing. Like, what do you want, and how are you going to get it? Because I know me and you talked about this before, and a few other people, and I've been asked what I think of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and all these people. And my thing is, it's tofu, man. You mix tofu in your food, and it soaks up whatever you cook it with, and it tastes like the thing you mix with it. So when I look at her, I'm like, she's a she pawns herself as a progressive, but she's more centrist. She puts a lot of positive policy and in California, and she's done things that were detrimental. Now, the things that she did were detrimental. You could say what you want to say about them, but there's a lot of context behind that too. A lot of political context, a lot of what the people wanted context, which is ironic that I'm saying this now, because if you ask, it's the same thing. I know we discussed the crime bill, the 94 crime bill, Joe Biden. People hate Joe Biden for that. And Joe Biden, he's got a lot to do with that.
Yeah.
But in its place, in its time, crime was at its worst point. Domestic violence was at its worst point. Child abuse was at its worst. All these things are happening at the same time. And you had Republicans, you had Democrats, you had black people, you had the black church on the government's neck about this stuff. So people wanted something done, and then when something, how it goes when the government decides to do something, sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. Yeah. And usually when it don't work out so well, guess who the first people to get hurt by it? Black people. Absolutely. Or minorities in general. You know what I'm saying? So in that context, I understand why so many people voted on to pass the crime bill. Just turned out to be trash. Yeah. And the same thing with some of the stuff that Kamala Harris was doing. Now, some of it was ambition. Like, I read a bunch of stuff about her, and they were talking about, a lot of her accomplishments and a lot of the things that they said she did that they didn't like. And she tended to shy away from policies and stuff that would put her at odds with the people that she had to work with to do her job.
Yeah.
So, like, she had to work with police and she was trying desperately not to go to war.
Playing a game.
Right, playing a game. And it was like, you know, they say that it seemed like she was pushing towards this moment a long time ago.
Yeah.
You know, and trying to straddle lines, because she did a lot of progressive stuff in California, but she also did a lot of trash in California.
She did. I think, I think you made a good point, and it's something I had never thought about before, that she is a lot like Biden in the way that they approach their solutions. You know, like you said, they look to make like this consensus solution that everybody agrees on at the time. This is a great thing, and we're going to deal with it the way politicians deal with it. And like you said,
Right.
You made a good analogy to the 94 crime bill, to what she did in California. I think that's perfect, because I think everybody across the board was like, yes, that's great, fix it. And so they took that route to fix it. And I think if you fast forward 25 years, I think now people are understanding, hey, those fixes don't work. You got to really address the root. But politicians historically haven't been, that's not their job. That's not the way they get down, is to fix the root. Because then you got to, like you said, you got to stop playing the game and upset some people. So now you got like the Bernie Sanders of the world and all these people and AOC coming out with policies that's going to upset a lot of people and overturn things. But historically, that just ain't the way it got done, you know?
Right.
Like you said, their heart was in the right place to get stuff done, but they got stuff done the old way, you know? And I just think that that's one of them, that's one of those things that it's a sign of the times, man.
Yeah.
Really a sign of the times.
I think, man, it's weird, because like I try to, I'm not the biggest Kamala Harris fan, but I look at, like, imagine you had a job and your boss was like, get this thing done in your job. Your job was to get this thing done. And you took X, Y, Z steps to get those things done. Some stuff went good, some stuff went bad. Ultimately, you got the job sort of done. Mm-hmm. And then 10 years later, you was in another job interview, and that thing that you did showed up on your resume. And it's a new day. You know what I'm saying? It's a new day, a new expectation, a new way to look at things, and they're looking at your resume like, how in the world could you have done this?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of the stuff that, that people talk about with her, it's not an excuse, because it's bad, a lot of stuff is bad. But I think, I don't think it's, something that you can always look back on and have the right frame of thinking about it, particularly with something like crime bill, or will put people in jail. So like one of the things with her, I think she tried to do exactly what you're saying, go to the root. Like, she did a lot of stuff for kids in California. Mm-hmm. And like the youth crime and the youth arrests and all that stuff plummeted from it. So it's like it wasn't all for naught. Yeah. It was like, all right, it's damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But with that said, I think you have to take that and look and use it as a lens for where you want to push and where you feel like she should be pushed. Because you don't really got a choice. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no choice. Like, you either get down or lay down, in the words of the great philosopher Benny Siegel.
Now, you talked about, and we didn't have plenty of conversations about this. You talked about, Joe Biden is the nominee, whether you like it or not. Our job is to hold him to the fire and to make him come to the table to, bring some relief to us. He's not going to just do it on his own. That's our job, to bring him to the table. So what do you think, with it right now, Black people in the whole spectrum, you got Hotep people, you got woke people, you got every piece of the African diaspora is awake right now and looking to make a move. What do you think we really need to think about going into this election, man? Like, for the next 90 days, how can we really put something together on what should be our biggest things we're concerned about?
I think that's you look at like
the fire for, like, what can we do?
I mean, I think a lot of people are doing it. You look at like the effect of Black Lives Matter, whatever you may think about the organization chartered as Black Lives Matter, or people just saying Black Lives Matter, whatever it is, you know, these people they went through the effort of putting out a program that they felt was important.
They did.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's you know, like trash analysis is like Joe Biden is trash next.
Yeah.
Trash analysis is like Kamala Harris is trash next. Because ultimately it could be the next Barack Obama, it could be Jesus Christ, and you still have to be about something. And you still have like, wait, okay, so let's pretend like the nominees weren't these people. What do you want?
Mm-hmm.
Do that. You know, make that noise, regardless of who the nominee is.
Yeah.
You know, and me and you've been talking about, we keep saying this over and over again because we have a lot of conversations, but like I think, you know, we had this conversation about voting in general. And for me, like people look at voting as like their part in the process, their job.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why we tend to lose all the time. Even when we win, we tend to lose. Because the same people know that voting is a part of the year-round process, and the push is the actual game.
Yeah.
So you can put anybody in, and whoever's pushing is winning. You know what I'm saying? It's like me and you. Go ahead.
Well, in that vein, I think that's a really good point, because right now you see a lot of posts of people saying, hey, y'all need to do this, y'all need to do that. Don't just say you ain't gonna vote. You gotta go out and vote. My biggest thing that I've always been concerned with is, and you know, I've gone back and forth on what I believe in as voting. But for me, I'm not a big y'all don't do this fan. I don't like the whole y'all ain't doing this right. Y'all ain't looking deep enough. I'm more of a pro guy, right? Like if I believe all black people need to go vote because our life is on the line, I'm gonna explain why their life is on the line. You know what I mean? Like break that down instead of saying y'all ain't where y'all need to be. Let's say, all right, go. You may not like these people, but if you get them in office, we can hold them to this, this, and this, and then that can help us get another step forward. You know what I mean?
Right.
So help me build that case, right? So if I go vote, I'm a Yang dude, right? I like Andrew Yang, but he ain't on the ballot. You know what I'm saying? He ain't there. So I'm gonna go vote for Biden, right? But if I vote for Biden, like let's build this story of why I'm choosing to go vote for Biden, even though I'm a Yang dude. You know,
I think the better way of looking at that, looking at what you just said, because you just described something that was great. I think the better way of looking at that though is, okay, I'm an Andrew Yang guy, and my option here is to vote for Biden. That's my option. Okay, so how can I turn Joe Biden into Andrew Yang?
That's what I'm talking about.
That's from your platform piece, that should be your goal. And I thought more people would see that from what Bernie did in the last election. Because, you know, nobody was feeling what none of that centrist field wasn't feeling what that dude was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And he injected a lot of stuff that's almost kind of normal now into the game. So to some degree, he turned a lot of these people, and you know, Bernie-esque.
Yeah.
So I think that that should move. Like you don't have to voting for Joe Biden isn't spitting on your own platform, and that's why I say we even lose when we win sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Because imagine me, you, and a couple of our dudes started a company. And we trying to figure out the organization of this company, and we like Jay Floyd, you know, got his stuff together, and we all voting, and Jay Floyd gets voted as the president of this company that we started. We all got our thing, we all do our thing in this company, but Jay Floyd, we need an organization, and Jay Floyd is not a president of this organization. We don't walk away from that. Like now we voted Jay Floyd, and whatever Jay Floyd is, all we get to do is sit back and vote whether or not everything Jay Floyd do made sense. You know what I'm saying? Don't work like that. Right, exactly. Nobody would ever be a part of an organization and think like that. But that's how we vote, though.
You're absolutely right. That is one of the biggest problems. And I'm being guilty of that myself, of thinking like, man, this is the end of the line. If it ain't my guy, then it ain't never going to go my way. You know what I'm saying? But there's some flaws in that logic.
And I don't understand why people don't realize that. Like, realize that, I mean, you can't turn Joe Biden into Andrew Yang, but you get what I'm saying, though.
Yeah.
Like, he is going to go with the sways. If the push of the party goes BLM, I guarantee you Joe Biden will be BLM.
Yeah.
If the push of the party shuts up and the push of the country goes
back to normal.
Law and order?
Yeah.
Law and order?
Law and order, that might be.
Or immigration, whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whatever it is, then that's what him and this ticket's going to be. That's what this guy and this lady who's trying to get power and keep some power and change the sway of the nation is going to be. It's not like I don't see the two of them like no big time progressives. So you have to make them something.
Yeah. All right, now tell me this. Like, we talked about the Trump thing, right? You hear all the time, man, if this dude get back in office,
mm-hmm.
This is number one for Black people. They always say, this is our lives. That's it. So our lives on the line, our freedoms on the line. For the overall scope, a lot of people say the fabric of our democracy is threatened, right? So what do you make of that, man? Because you know what I feel. I'm always like, I understand, but man, that really makes me have problems with our democracy, though. I'm like,
oh yeah, you should have problems with our democracy. You should have problems with it. I mean, I think that's one of the reasons. Like you, like what do I think this election means? I think it means now we realize that we got to actually put a stamp on some stuff that we just call stuff that we call norms
and unspoken rules.
Yeah. Dude, it's like, let me poke at the walls until I find a hole. And it's like, when you have standard issue wrestlers going to the ring every night, and then one night you got Stone Cold Steve Austin show up in the ring, people don't really know what to do with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, can he do that? Like, I'll see.
Can he throw beers in the audience? What?
Right? Like, is that a thing? So, people don't really, like, this is the first time for this, so people don't really know what to make of this clown and know what, if anything, they should or can do about some of the stuff he's saying, because nobody has ever been in this office that was willing to do some stuff and not have no shame for anything that they did.
We definitely got to address it, man, because I know for me, growing up, you get taught these things. We have checks and balances. We have three branches of the government that function in this way. Here's the Alexander Hamilton's papers, all of these things that we believe are in place. And then Trump just came in and was like, you know what? Y'all ain't writing none of that down. None of that stuff is really legal. It's just stuff y'all talk about in school. I'm going to do what I want to do. And I'm like, wow, really? To me, that's a huge problem.
That's a major problem. I think a lot of laws will get shored up. I think actually a lot of people on both sides will want a lot of that shored up. But as far as like what it can mean or what happens if we don't, I mean, I don't think we go backwards, even if we do elect a progressive, and that's not even say I think, because I don't think this will happen like this again. Like, I think this is not getting one lifetime shot. But if Trump got reelected, I think the biggest problem with Trump being reelected is that there is no appetite for, there would be no appetite to go after him for things anymore.
Yeah.
Because it will say that, that the word on the street would be that the people spoke again and they don't believe that he's doing the things that are coming out of his mouth, that he's saying, that these policies and all this, this crazy stuff, but the people don't care. So why should anybody that would be a check on him care?
Yeah.
So it's liable to, like, our elections right now, people already don't think the election is going to be fair or real or anything like that, or the way media had stuff in the media takes place. So it's like, man, it's crazy, but we are not supposed to have a president that you have to run behind and say you can't do that all the time. That's not how a presidency is.
Like literally every day.
Yeah, like every day, and he has made that he has normalized that.
Yeah, the one thing I like, the reason why I want to, and I hope this is not your last time coming on the show, because I want to continue this, because I think, especially for the Black community, man, we need to start talking about this in more concrete terms. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's cool to just be like, hey, Trump is the orange Cheeto monster, I hate him. That's cool and that's funny in the moment. But to me, it's better to really break down exactly why you don't like him and talk about what exactly are you going to do about it. You know what I mean? Because like you said, it's more than just November. It's more than just that one day. It's more than that. And with that said, I kind of want to end with this, because I don't think a lot of people are discussing this part, right? The guy that predicts all the elections, I think his name is Joel Silver or Adam Silver, something Silver. He's predicted the election correctly. Nate Silver, there you go. My man predicted the election correctly, like what, the last 8-10 times or whatever.
Something like that.
So he predicts a very slim victory for Biden, right?
Okay.
Let's say that man is correct again. What are we looking at? We got this global pandemic that we know was botched. We got this racial uprising in our hands. We got the world trying to find what's normal again, to even come outside. Okay, Biden wins. Biden and Harris walk in January. What do you think? What do you think is what's it gonna look like, and what's our moves, man?
That's a tough one, because it's so many little things that you kind of have to go back and analyze.
Yeah. Like
what happened with our Justice Department? What happened and is happening with our Justice Department? What happened and happening with our standing around the world? Whether it's the medical community or alliances or even enemy standings and stuff. And that's the whole world is invested in this election. Absolutely. This ain't just about us, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's hard. I heard I was talking to somebody and they was like, Joe Biden goes out here and tries to fix the international stuff, and Kamala Harris stays here and starts getting at people like Bill Barr. So it's like a tag team. We back in the ring again.
It might have to be.
It's man. I don't even really know where you begin. But I think a big part of that though is more so the undercards than the president. So let's say Biden wins in a squeaker, but the Republican brand as a whole down the party ticket gets handed their ass. Now you talking about something totally different now, because this type of politics, this brand of politics is getting mocked at this point.
Yeah.
So now it's not as difficult to be like a sweeping, all that got to go. You know what I'm saying? All y'all got to go. Now everybody's scared now. Like, you know what? You was right. This dude he was kind of racist, or whatever comes from that. So it's I think that's gonna be the tale on how much happens and how fast is the party line ticket. Like what happens in the Senate? Like if Democrats can pull off getting the Senate, that's game over there. But it's still gonna take a long time, man.
I think you're right, man. I think you're right. And I think you said something super profound at the beginning where you said this election really tells us a lot about ourselves. And I think, my challenge to everybody out there, man, all of y'all white who listen to my show, man, I'm all about growth. I'm all about growing. Ain't none of us perfect. Ain't none of us got the answers. But we all just trying to get 1% better, man. And my challenge to everybody is, like he said, man, educate yourself. Don't be afraid to change your position and strong opinions too, man. If you start digging into some stuff and you feel like, and you start to see, man, maybe I was a little harsh on Kamala Harris, or maybe I need to back up. Hey, that's cool, man. That's perfectly fine. You can do that.
Actually, you know what? I really don't have a problem with people having a problem with Kamala Harris. I think the trashing is trash. Yeah. I mean, that's a American black woman that's, my daughter is getting ready to go to the school she graduated from. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I'm not down with that. I'm not down with the berating and I seen some memes that were just trash.
It's rough, man. It's rough.
But just like, we want people to understand how we feel about Donald Trump. Like, if I feel like Donald Trump is a racist, that's not the end game for me. Like, the story isn't that let me say something real quick. I want to understand this. The story is not that Donald Trump is racist.
Y'all taking notes on this? Take notes.
The story is what Donald Trump does with racism. In other words, the racism becomes the lens that you view him through. So when you come to the conclusion that you feel like he's racist, so what? Okay, there's a lot of racist people out there, but what can he do with that racism? How is it playing out? That's the lens that you look. Okay, Donald Trump is racist. Now what? What is he doing with that? That's how you look at it. And same thing with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. If you feel a certain, I'm not telling you not to like these two. What I'm saying is, do your thing and view them through that lens. If you think Joe Biden is handsy with kids, view him through that lens and what he's actually doing. But you still gotta look at the actual stuff. Same thing with Kamala Harris. Look at what she did as a senator, and view her through that lens that you think she puts black men in prison. Same thing. I'm not trying to separate how people look at Donald Trump or say Donald Trump is evil and these two are good or whatever. It's all a lens. It's what you go into. You just can't like make a meme and feel like you threw out a big joker. You ain't said nothing.
Yeah.
You ain't said nothing. You think Kamala Harris is this? Show me where she's doing that in the Senate. Show me where you think that would play out in the presidency, and let's have that talk.
And that's exactly that's why I wanted to start something like this. I wanted to bring you on because I know that you actually study the moves that these people make. So I think if you take anything from this interview, y'all, instead of just forming one blanket opinion, really start to break down why you feel that way. You know what I'm saying? And not just break it down, explain that to people. Because for one, they might be like, man, I ain't know that. Or they might be like, nah, you missing something on that, bro. Let me give you another piece. You know what I'm saying? That's the kind of conversation we start building on. Like you said, instead of tearing down, we all start building up with more knowledge of who these people are and how they might lead, man. So yeah, that's it, man. I wanted to for one, I want to thank you for coming on, man. Pete, Robert Speed Hill, he is one of the hosts of the Turntable, man, on United Grind Entertainment. They get down talking about hip hop, man. They do their thing, man. So go check them out. They got a live video podcast, man. I'm always on there, and I'm always trying to chime in. Like, what my takes be so ridiculous though. Like, I'll be kind of left field, so I'm always like, I don't know, but yeah. But no, check them out, man. Especially if you love hip hop, like I do, and like my man Speed does, man. Where we was born.
Yes, sir.
So, all right, man. Thank y'all for joining me again. I hope y'all appreciated this info. Click down there and like and subscribe this bad boy. And join me again for another episode of the Big Bro Podcast. Peace.